Welcome to the Midwest. My name is Jesse, and today is the third episode in a series that I'm doing on overcoming anxiety, and this is about the issue of shame. Shame is something that actually is a good thing in the way that it helps keep our society put together. There are good reasons to feel shame if you do something that is shameful, something that is abhorrent, something that is very bad. You should be ashamed of yourself. There are good reasons to feel shame. But for those of us who experience anxiety, for those of us who experience both social anxiety and just anxiety in general, there's this strange thing that I noticed, and it's this anticipation of shame. It's this strange feeling that either I have some reason that I should be ashamed of myself, or I'm about to do something, or I'm about to have a reason to be ashamed of myself. A lot of times I think this is whenever you have like a social situation, and I think that's one of the reasons why we feel anxiety. We're going into this social situation and we anticipate doing something that we'll be ashamed of later. Saying something wrong, doing some kind of social faux pas, looking not cool, having a booger hang out of your nose, these things, right? And so part of our anxiety is this anticipation of shame. Now, if you think back, think back to the origins of this sensation. So evolutionarily speaking, we as human beings, we were in groups of maybe 12 to 25 people. And what we would do to a person who did something shameful in the community, we would shame them, we would ostracize them. So having a good sense of shame is actually a survival mechanism. It keeps us from doing something that is going to get us ostracized from our community. It keeps us from doing something that's going to harm the collective, harm the tribe or the group as a whole. Because back in those days, if you were shamed out of the group, right? If you were shunned from the group, it was a death sentence. Not only did you not have anyone else to care for you or take care of you or help you out, but your genetic code would be completely gone because you would have no one else to mate with, and eventually you would die out. So we've developed this sense of shame that because we want to stay in the group. We don't want to be ostracized. It's this defense to keep us from being ostracized. Okay? So sometimes I feel like just at least understanding the reason why I feel something is helpful for me to overcome that feeling. Because what you're really feeling is a thing that essentially it's a defense mechanism. It keeps you from, maybe not a defense mechanism, but it's a survival mechanism, if nothing else. It keeps you from being ostracized from the group. And that's a lot of the anxiety, right? Especially in social situations. You go and you don't want to be laughed at. You don't want to be, you don't even know what to do. You're just kind of in this state of flux, and you're afraid of saying the wrong things, doing the wrong things, and you're anticipating it. And it puts you in this anxious state. You have the freedom to do whatever, right? You have the freedom to go and have a great time. But you anticipate yourself making some kind of a mistake, and you're already not forgiving yourself for it. Actually, not too long ago, I did a video where I did something really stupid. I did a video on tinnitus with Wim Hof method, and I mispronounced tinnitus. And there's a guy on, I was pronouncing it tonight. Well, here, take a look at how I was pronouncing it. You should do a video on tinnitus. The issue for me was I don't suffer from tinnitus. I have had brief episodes of tinnitus, like after a rock concert or after, something. So I was pronouncing this word wrong, and a guy on YouTube, of course, because we're on the internet, right? People feel the need to really just like let you have it, like somehow punish you because you make a mistake. And, and actually he owned me really good. And actually it was kind of funny. he made fun of me in a way that I had to admit was kind of funny. And I got to say, it's only because I deal better with anxiety and this, sense of shame nowadays than I used to. Back in the day, I would have probably maybe I would have quit the YouTube channel. I might have just completely gone into hiding. Now I'm just like, well, okay, he made a good point. Actually, he was right. I mispronounced it. So I got the advantage. I got to learn from, a guy who's kind of being a jerk, right? Some of you guys were all over him, by the way. And so you made me feel good, like you got my back, but it wasn't like he was wrong. So I could have done a few things. And the first thing is I could have felt ashamed of myself. And I did. I felt a little bit of shame. I was like, man, I should have known how to pronounce this word. All of the research I did on tinnitus, I really hadn't talked to a lot of people verbally. I had done a lot of emailing and texting and stuff like that, and a lot of reading online. And so I hadn't listened to the words said much. And I actually grew up where people said tinnitus. We're in the Midwest. I'm sorry. We say things funny sometimes. So I remade the video and I tried to make it better. And I'm moving on with my life. Now, the thing is, there was something inside of me though, right? If you experience anxiety, if you can experience these things, especially when it comes to shame, that was like, there was this thing that was like, well, if he's discovered I'm an idiot, right? Maybe I'm a total idiot. And if he's discovered it, maybe everyone knows. And maybe everyone is going to hate me. And I'm going to be, there's this inner thing that even though I didn't intellectually think this stuff, there's this inner thing deep inside that I was afraid of being shunned for my ignorance, shunned for my stupidity, right? And that's where that shame comes in. See, I'm saying things wrong now already. Still saying dumb things. I'm going to continue to say dumb things. But the thing is, when it comes down to it, I had to understand this is a primal fear, the fear of being shunned from the community that I'm experiencing. Is this real? No. I'm not actually being shunned from any community. And whenever we're in social situations, we feel like we might be shunned from this group. But we have to understand that there's a certain degree of our primal programming that sees this group as the be-all, end-all group. This is all of humanity. If I get shunned from this group, I am no longer capable of surviving. There's this survival instinct. That's why it seems so important. It seems so dangerous. It seems so immediate. But in the world we live in now, actually, it's not the case. That's one of the nice things about modern living is that even if you do get shunned from one group, there's like a million other groups. There are always other groups. And in most cases, and at least in my experience, people aren't going to shun you for making little mistakes here and there. To be honest, I like it knowing that I'm not the only one that makes those mistakes. Not too long ago, I was talking to somebody and he went to introduce me to somebody and then he forgot my name. And I was like, oh, it's Jesse, He's like, oh, sorry. But I told him, I was really happy I'm not the only person that does that. I'm glad other people do it too. If nothing else, it proved that we're all humans and we're all just doing our best to try to do our best to be good to each other, and sometimes things happen. When it comes to this issue of shame, we have to learn to stop anticipating shame, okay? Because that's what puts us in that state of fear and anxiety that keeps us from doing the things we love to do. We have to learn to avoid that. And it comes from doing the things that we talked about in the previous videos. You've got to scaffold yourself. You've got to learn how to be nice to people, right? Practicing having interactions. And at the end of the day, you're going to learn that the things that there's so many things that maybe you said that were stupid that you can't get out of your head, or, man, I can't believe I said it this way. I really put my foot in my mouth, or this or that. You're going to realize the more you interact with people, the more you're going to see that everybody does that. Everybody does it. And yeah, some people are real jerks, and then they take this high horse position and they're like, oh, you're so stupid and whatnot. But I would be willing to bet that those people are even more insecure than other people. They're more insecure than you are because they feel that somehow they need to like hit you when you're down. So avoid, avoid falling into the trap that your evolutionary programming has set for you. If you have a social faux pas, if you do something silly, if you make a mistake, yeah, it's embarrassing, but it's not something worth feeling shame for. We need to reserve shame for things that are actually shameful, that are actually awful. You slap somebody in the face for no reason. That's kind of a shameful thing. Why'd you do that? That wasn't cool, If you, obviously there's a million things that are shameful that you can think of, right? But forgetting somebody's name, pronouncing something wrong, having a booger hang out of your mouth out of your nose, the whole dinner party, it's not like you did something shameful. It might be a little embarrassing, but it's not worth being ashamed over. It's not like people are going to ostracize you for that. And if they do, again, there are other tribes. There are others like you. And the audience for this channel seems to be pretty like-minded tribe. So I appreciate your just your awesomeness. But overall, I hope this helps. Remember that this concept of shame is not the monster that we make it out to be. And it is not the death sentence that it once was. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helps. And don't forget to go out there and be nice to people.
something